Welcome again, everyone, to the Business Freedom Formula. I am your host, John Arns, and today I am pleased to have as my guest Ingrid Bardales. How do you do, Ingrid?
Hey, pretty good. How are you, John?
Terrific, thank you. Say, listen, I'm curious before we get going too much here, if you could
Okay.
share with us one really interesting and exciting thing you're working on right now in your business.
Wow. Okay. Well, since my business is new, everything about my business I feel is exciting. But the most exciting thing that I'm working on is updating my homepage,
Oh,
which, yeah. And the reason being is because I'm noticing a lot of traffic, but it's not really allowing visitors to kind of hang around and explore the store. So to me, giving it a facelift is exciting.
is exciting. Sure, sure. Anytime we change something or update something. So I was looking over your website, and for our
Uh,
guests who haven't seen it yet, your website is called Tastey Threads, and it's foodie oriented t-shirts, which
It is.
when I read that, I went, okay, I've got to go look and see what you're talking about. Okay.
Mhm.
Very interesting. Um, how did you get into this?
Well, it all started back in 2023, when 3 weeks before Christmas, I got the dreaded call from my manager and said, I am so sorry, I have to let you go. When that happened, my Christmas list kind of was shortened right
Sure,
after that.
sure.
And so I spent like 9 months two part-time jobs, doing, a lot of things here and there. And one day I happened to go to my hairdresser because you still need to look nice, even though
Sure.
you're
Yeah,
broke,
sure.
you know.
Yeah.
And
No, I get it.
she said to me, well, at the time I was I had bought myself a digital camera. And I was like, I need some type of relief. I need some type of hobby.
Sure.
And I purchased a camera and I was just going around taking pictures. I didn't think I thought they were pretty good. And I was just sharing them with her. And she said, I have a client that does food photography. She gets paid to cook the food and take pictures of the result. I said, you've got to be kidding me. It sounds like a
Mhm.
dream job,
Yeah, sure, exactly.
especially
Yeah,
when
I
you don't
get it.
have one, right? And I said, you need to put me in touch with this person. And she did. We met. And, my first question was, is this legit, right? Is this legit? And she's like, absolutely, it is. I highly recommend it. And so after doing some research, sure enough, it was. And so I took the plunge. I enrolled in the course. And halfway through the course, for some reason, I just thought, is there like foodie wear, out there? I mean,
Hmm.
you have sportswear for sports fam, anime, you have all sorts of just, t-shirts. And I wanted something that fused real food photography. So what you see now on my website is not even what I had envisioned. I had envisioned some beautiful photograph, like a Mona Lisa, the equivalent of a
Hmm.
Mona Lisa. But then I was like, that's kind of boring. Why don't we make it nice and fun and artistic? And that's where I decided, you know what? I think I'm gonna go this route, which is fusing real food photography and digital art.
Hmm.
And that's I said, okay, well, so I put the food photography course on the back burner. It's still there. It's still there. I
Sure,
haven't quite
sure.
completed the course just yet. But this is where this started. So this is how this began. That's my origin story.
Hmm.
I didn't, my first idea was not a foodie, fashion
Hmm.
wear. It was, I need money. I
No,
need to
sure,
get a
sure.
job, and this food photography is, the answer. And eventually I did get a full-time job 9 months later, and
Hmm.
I'm still there. And
Sure.
I'm grateful. I love all my coworkers. But this is something special to me. This is something that I think it's one of the few things that I am still seeing through. not like January, you start, this is it, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And then by February,
Right.
you're like, I'm done, right? No, this
Hmm.
is something that has taken a bit. And the reason why is because I didn't think it was going to be this challenging. So one of the challenges that I first had was, okay, I have this idea. I need someone to help me translate this idea. And that meant finding a graphic artist. So I went through a couple of those and I finally found a very talented young man. And we're still working today. We still work together. Then once I, took some shots and I sent them over to him and he transformed them, I said, okay, great. Now I need a canvas, right? Which is the t-shirt.
Right.
And I said, well, this can't be that this difficult. I see a lot of, printers out there. Well, that's true. There are a lot of like print on demand partners, but not all of them have the same quality,
Sure.
in terms of print quality, t-shirt quality. And I was just amazed. And that part took the longest. It took me almost a year to find a great partner. And when I finally did, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad. And continue to just purchase from them samples just to make sure that the quality was consistent.
Hmm.
And when I figured, okay, it is, I launched. So I do have a mentor, and I said to him, okay, I think I found a partner. I think this is it. And he's like, okay, what's keeping you from launching now? So he
Hmm.
challenged me.
Sure.
Um, maybe 3 weeks. He said to me, I will give you 2 weeks to launch before Thanksgiving. So like I said, I just recently launched and I took the plunge. I launched and I'm kind of sort of building the plane as I'm flying it, as you might say.
Hmm.
So that's my story.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds very interesting. I know that getting something started and off the ground and launched can be very challenging. Um, you don't understand really all the bits and pieces and moving parts necessary sometimes to get something open, to get something going.
Right, right.
It's
And someone else can tell you, but it's not the same as going through it.
right, right. And then you've got the whole, now that you've launched and you've been running about what, 5 weeks, four
Yeah,
weeks?
pretty much.
Okay. So now you've got all of the other kinds of stuff, which is, all the back end non-glamorous work like
Yeah,
keeping track of your financials and and looking at, is this, maintaining, like you said, you're looking at your dashboard, what's your engagement? Are you getting a lot of bounce? Are you getting
yeah,
how many, something like, okay, I get X number of visitors, I get X number of sales. What is my ratio? How can I increase the number of sales based on the number of people who visit?
yeah,
All of these
correct.
things become a lot more involved than just, oh, I'm going to build a website and sell these
Yeah,
t-shirts, because it's really a lot more than that. It's a
it
business.
is. It is.
Now, if you can approach something like what you're doing as a hobby, not
I
not a
don't think
hobby
you'll
so
get
much as,
anywhere.
yeah, you've got a regular job,
Hmm.
which is great because now you're not in one of those positions where you have to rely on the income from your business.
Right.
It gives you the peace of mind of being able to grow that business at a rate that you should be able to sustain without getting yourself into a great deal of debt.
True. And that's why I think that print on demand is a great formula. So for those of you that don't know what print on demand is, it's just you as a business owner don't have the responsibility of carrying so much inventory, right?
Sure.
So there's a company out there that says, hey, we carry all of the color t-shirts, all types and sizes that you would ever want or need, and we will do the printing for you. And I think it's a great plan because this allows you to tweak your business, your
Mhm.
message. And once you've got it down, once you've got that secret sauce,
Hmm.
then you have the option of saying, okay, now I want to bring this in-house. Like now I want to be my own provider. I want to be in charge. You can either do that, and or most t-shirt, apparel, fashion owners, they just kind of double down and just say, well, now I'm going to go to a supplier that can handle double the
Hmm.
amount of orders.
Hmm.
So it's a double-edged sword, right? It's a
Sure.
double-edged sword, but I think it's a great start for beginners. I think it
Hmm.
allows you the freedom to tweak your message, to tweak your those little back end details. Well, like you were saying before, okay, now I'm digging into my analytics. Well, what can I do? Right?
Hmm.
What is it that I have control of that I can keep visitors on my store
Hmm.
longer and
Hmm.
return? And that's where I'm at this point.
Hmm. Yeah, that now it gets into the real work, the behind the scenes stuff that most of us don't even realize goes on. Um,
And you start to realize, you can read or watch all the tutorial videos, and you can see a lot of people talk about, your Google store console, your PKIs, and you're thinking, what the heck are they talking about?
right,
And now you're like, oh, now I know what they meant.
right, right.
You
Once,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Once you understand what um, your what the numbers mean and how to look at them,
right.
and it's more than just that.
Mhm.
With like when I went through my MBA program, I'd already had accounting and economics and finance and all of this on my undergraduate degree. Well, when I
Mhm.
went into my master's program and we talked about accounting, it was the same accounting, okay? But the
Mhm.
focus was different.
Mm.
Oh yeah, you still have debits and credits and all of this stuff, but now it was more of a focus of, okay, what does that profit and loss statement mean?
Mm, mhm.
Where are and that's the thing that you kind of have to learn. What you were talking about, KPIs, key performance indicators, is
Yeah.
what does that mean? It's a
Mhm.
great acronym, and you think, wow, you can spout that out, but do you know what that means? Do you know
Right.
how to what those are? And they can be different for every business.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So there's kind of like a core group of those that apply to everybody. Like, what are my cost of goods sold, which to the uninitiated is cost of goods sold is the difference between what you pay for it and what you sell for it. That's the cost of producing it or outsourcing it in your case,
Yes.
or there's a cost to you for that,
Mhm.
and so you have to know that, and you have to keep track of all of these things because it impacts not only your financial statements and how much money you get to keep, but also impacts your taxes when you go to do your taxes and you're filing these
Exactly.
things. And especially if you're running like as an LLC, well, not so much an LLC. If you're running as a sole proprietor, then these are business expenses.
Mhm.
Now, if you're running as an LLC, the only thing you have to worry about is how much money you keep, and that
Yeah.
becomes income and it falls into your regular personal income category. But now if you're going to an S corp or a C corp, now you get more complicated. Now
Mhm.
there's filing rules and all of this stuff, and now you got to hire an accountant,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
I
is
feel like I
usually
gotta hire one now, you
yeah,
know.
which is down the line. Yeah, yeah, and it's funny how that can work sometimes because it's yeah you keeping track of all of it, and
Yeah.
you know
It,
fortunately
it's
there's great places where you've got a lot of gig workers that want to do this kind of thing. They I was
yeah.
I was recently listening to I think it was I think I was listening to a video. Somebody was talking about their business and what was going on. And they're like an individual. No, I take that back. It was somebody I was interviewing like 2 weeks
Okay.
ago. They have this business. They have like 19 people that work for them,
Wow.
and not one of them is an employee.
Mhm.
They outsource this, they outsource that. and they're all
Yeah.
doing little bits and pieces so the business owner can focus here
Yeah.
on what they're doing. Now, I imagine eventually as she builds that, it's going to get to the point where some of that's going to have to come in-house. But for a startup, it's great.
It is. I mean, it's a great model. A
Hmm.
lot of these other platforms are, they're great resources for someone like me who's just starting out.
Hmm.
You need to upgrade the way your website looks. Well, you can't do it. Or maybe if you do, you don't have the time because maybe you're working a 9 to 5. So you outsource it. And it's worth it. I mean, it's not,
Hmm.
it's an expense, you probably would have
Sure.
used towards something
Hmm.
else, but um, it's uh, it's just things that, for instance, for me, like I quickly realized that, the bounce rate was a little high, even though it's decreasing now.
Hmm.
I can tell because I did some SEO optimization for my products, and I can tell that's bringing in some more visitors.
Hmm.
But I don't want to wait 5 months and say, well, maybe I should make a change. No, I immediately realized that
Hmm.
I need to make a change
Sure.
now.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
I,
you need to take action.
right. You know what's funny, Ingrid? Sitting here listening to you talk like this, a year ago, you never would have known what all of that meant.
No, I thought I was just gonna hit the go button
But
and it was
yeah,
all
and that's
gonna
all it
go.
was. Right.
That's
Right.
it, automatic.
Right. It's like, what's the commercial that has that button that you push? What is that for Staples or something? You just hit the button
Oh
and it's
yes,
there.
yes, that was it. A
Yeah.
little red button. I was gonna press it, and you have to be very involved. But you know what? I am learning so much, though.
Sure.
I am learning so much, and and I have to say, I have to give big props to Shopify. Shopify has this little AI agent,
Okay.
and the more I realize how crucial this little agent is, the more I use him.
Mm-hmm.
He has optimized my products, my product description, my product URL, my SEO
Mm-hmm.
description. Like he has done everything, and that is already making a difference.
Sure.
So this is something that I wouldn't have thought of, even though I
Right.
knew it was important, because I'm still working on so many other things that I realized, wow, here's a tool I can use. It's at my fingertips. And when he does it, it takes 15 seconds, right?
Sure.
When I do it, it takes 15 hours. But so now I'm using this little bot
Mhm.
more and more. And that's something I'm glad I discovered early on.
Yeah, there are a lot of nice things going on with artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
especially like if you're somebody who's getting started, who's looking at starting a business, and you say, okay, I want to create a website.
Mhm.
It's very possible with some of the tools out there to create a website from a prompt
Yes.
and not have to use any code. You can you can give some examples of what you're looking for, maybe include a couple of URLs out to a websites you like the basic
Hmm.
design, tell it what kind of font and colors you want to use, let it generate something, and then if you see something you don't like, you say, please remove the blah, and it takes it out, and you go and you
Yes.
refine this thing, and you can build a website in hours
Yeah. Yeah.
without knowing anything about coding because
There's
these tools are there. Now, this is great for getting started, for getting a presence out there, and then you can become more sophisticated. Um,
Yes, agree.
especially you can upgrade from the free model you know, to the pro type models where you're
Yeah.
spending several $100s a month in subscription fees, but the tools are there for much more sophisticated. So, but if you're just somebody starting out saying, hey, I'd like to sell my cat videos. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's build a website that does that, that tells people, how I can do that, and maybe points to, like you said, maybe your Shopify account or something. And you can
Mhm.
do all of that, and you can do it in a weekend
Yeah, you just
and dip your
you
toe in
you
the
really have
water.
to want that. Yeah,
Yes.
you have to really want it. You have to get over the fear.
Mhm.
and also get over the fear of, failing or not having things
Hmm.
right. I mean, I think I picked out myself just going through the back end of my store of misspells, like something I
Sure.
misspelled, or um it just, I'm like, okay, well, it's not the end of the
Hmm.
world, and I fixed it myself.
Hmm.
But just getting your feet out there, just, okay, well, how do I do this?
Hmm.
And it's so easy to navigate. It's just the fear, like, I've never done this before. And I
Hmm.
think it's the fear of failure. It's either the fear of
Sure.
failure or the fear of being successful, like
Hmm.
one or the
Yes.
other.
Right. And there's really, um, I think several things that hold, especially adults back from doing this.
Mm,
One is there is a fear of failure. Okay. There is a fear of success,
mm,
especially like if you come from a background where people have not have, been, just like getting by,
yeah,
don't, they're not, and all of a sudden you're generating lots of money. Okay. That
yeah,
that can
yeah.
create friction for you because you've never had that kind of money. You're not sure what to do with it. It could create friction with family and friends because now all of a sudden you're well heeled and they're still where they are.
Right, right.
Okay. And it's also, I think, somewhat a fear of what I don't know if you've heard the expression imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Where you
yeah. You're absolutely
don't
right.
feel like, yeah, even though, like, for instance, you've learned all of this stuff, you know what you're doing. And if you tell people about it, even though you know what you're doing, maybe in the back of your head, you're going, Am I really, do I really know
I've
enough to
only been
share
doing
this
this
with
for
people?
5 weeks.
Right,
You know.
exactly. Okay, but you're 5 weeks ahead of everybody else you talk to.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
that's like being 3 chapters ahead of the class in a textbook that you're teaching.
yeah.
We laugh about that, but this happens.
It's
But,
true.
and I think
It's
though that if you looked at somebody who was 14, 15 years old, some kid, some
mm-hmm,
young lady, some young man somewhere who said, okay, I'm going to build this thing. And they spend an
mm-hmm.
entire afternoon on there because they don't care if they fail, they'll fix it. They'll
Yeah,
keep going and they'll go there to all of their friends. Look what I did. Look at this, right? It's a lot of it is mindset. And also, of course, as adults, we have a lot of other things we have to worry about. Our children, our parents,
mm,
getting the mortgage paid, all these kinds of
yeah.
things that kind of get in the way where when you're a kid, all you're worried about is whether or not mom's going to have dinner ready on time.
It's
It's
true. Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's very different, but it is very doable and you
It
have to take
is.
the plunge.
And not only that, to me, what I find is very important is you have to surround yourself with some other people who support you. But
Yes.
I have friends who support me in the sense that they will say, sure, great, applaud, but don't
Hmm.
support. I saw this Instagram post this morning, and it said, okay, you supported Jeff Bezos this morning, but did you support your friend in their business? Which I thought was so great. And it hit home because out of all the friends that I have, the
Hmm.
only person that supported me has been the hairdresser, my friend who
Yeah.
introduced me to,
Right.
and I'm going, wow, that hit home. But I don't care because I've seen too many success videos to know that I just have to work right, not just
Mhm.
work, but do the right things. I have a mentor who's very successful, and he guides me, and he's the one that's there and rooting for me.
Hmm.
And so you have to surround yourself with other entrepreneurs if that's really where you want to go. You have your friends, that's fine, and if they have the same mindset, then that's
Right.
great, but more than likely they're not.
Right. And I have talked to like some of my younger coworkers that want to do things. And I tell them, look, you have to surround yourself with people
Yeah.
who are going somewhere. I said, and if that means you go back to the community college, you take some
Mm-hmm.
basic business courses, surround yourself with people that want to achieve and move ahead, that now becomes your peer group. You don't
Yeah.
have to leave everybody behind, but you have to
Exactly.
understand that some of those people if people you know are telling you you're never going to be successful, you don't need them in your life.
Yeah, there's a lot of meetups.
Hmm.
I'm finding now, like I said, I'm in New York here. I'm visiting my parents. I was here for Thanksgiving, Christmas. I'll be here for New Year's too.
Hmm.
But I'm seeing a lot of now uh, fashion shows. And they're like, hey, if you're a new fashion, a brand owner, and you will, and okay, you know what? I'm gonna take the plunge. I'm gonna sign up. I'm gonna go feature
Hmm.
my brand, my designs. Hopefully by the time, you know, the show comes around, I'll have more designs, which I do have a big list, a board at
Hmm.
home of just different designs.
Hmm.
And I'm hoping, and nothing may come from it, but I don't know if I don't take the chance.
Sure, sure. And I think that sometimes we have to, everybody thinks of like doing a fashion show as this big production that we see with the, the big crowds and the
Hmm.
photographers and the run and all of this. And it doesn't have to be that.
It doesn't have to
It could
be.
be, for instance, if you design, can you imagine like if you designed nice gowns like certain young ladies would wear to a prom?
Hmm.
Couldn't you do a fashion show at the local high schools?
Yeah, for sure.
There you
You just
are.
got to be creative. Yeah,
Yeah,
you just have
on
to be
how
creative.
how you do it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, there used to be when my children were younger and they were involved in youth soccer, and we
Hmm.
would go to these soccer tournaments. There was a company there, just a family, and this gentleman would walk around with his camera and take pictures during the games of every child.
Oh,
Later on the next day, you could go and you could look through this album of pictures of your child
oh,
in these things.
oh.
So you could now buy the pictures, you could get them blown up into posters, and all
Hmm.
this. And this was just somebody with a camera,
Yeah.
you know, and the
He knew
ability to
what he
get
was
an
doing.
overnight prints done. But this was before, way before we had digital cameras on our
Oh,
phones. So,
yeah, yeah.
there are all kinds of different opportunities, and sometimes it's the way we think about it. Now, one of the things you mentioned in the information you gave me is that you wanted to help youth start their own businesses.
I do. So I have this thing in my heart that had I been around people like me,
Hmm.
my current version when I was young, I think, life, I think we can all say that,
Hmm.
life could have been a little bit different. But if I can help someone I grew up in the Bronx, so this is very, the city, inner city,
Hmm.
and just a different mindset here, right? Different
Hmm.
mindset. If I can help a few young people and say, you can do this, it's going to take hard work, it's going to take dedication, it's going to take for you not to give up. I can help you get out of here.
Hmm.
I can help you. Um, and that's what I would love to do.
Hmm.
I see myself actually going back to my church
Hmm.
and having 10 laptops and saying,
Hmm.
here are your laptops. This is
Hmm.
what we're going to learn. We're going to learn. And then, I keep a journal, like what I do every day and what I've learned. And I'm
Hmm.
okay, what's important? Well, SEO is important.
Hmm.
Let's do that.
Hmm.
Let's SEO
Yeah.
optimize our pages. Let's get great. Now let's utilize um Engage AI. There's so many free AI
Sure.
trials now that you can
Sure.
use. Okay,
Sure.
let's generate that. Let's get a product.
Hmm.
Let's niche, again, this is
Hmm.
something that a lot of young people think it's impossible, but it's just a
It's
process. It's a
it.
recipe.
Yeah. I mean, we have, I don't know, probably $1 trillion worth of economy in this country.
Hmm.
Okay. And not everybody is going to be a Zuckerberg or a Bezos. Okay.
Yes,
But
exactly.
you know what? You can be very comfortable. I mean,
Yes.
what do they say is the low end dollar value to be in the top like 3% of wage earners in America is only
Hmm.
like 200 grand. which sounds impossible when you're making, minimum wage,
Right,
but
right.
it's doable with the right, and it's not going to happen overnight.
No, it's not.
Somebody's going to
No.
have something that's going to get them overnight, but the chances are they're going to burn out just as fast. You need to build sustainable things. But,
Hmm.
here locally, and I'm not sure if it's in the city, I live in San Bernardino, California, and I don't know if it's in San Bernardino or the city of Highland because the border is real close there. There is actually a magnet high school with a
Okay.
focus on entrepreneurship.
Well,
Okay.
that's great.
So this is a school that's teaching kids, all of the basics, but then teaching them to be the next business leaders, to
Yeah.
to expand and the opportunity to do that. I like your idea. You've got the if you can use if you can leverage your community
Hmm.
and your church in your case, sit down
Hmm.
with young people and say, "Hey, today today we're going to learn to build a website using Lovable. Let's
Yeah.
go. Everybody can get a free account. We can play with this. We've only got so many, so much we can do in a day because they limit that
Hmm.
on the free
Right.
accounts. But there's that, and there are multiple other ones. And then, gee, how do we do some of these things? And um,
Yeah.
you start building the next, and then one of these days, one of these youngsters is going to come up to you and say, Ingrid, I can fix your whole back end for you with AI.
Yes, there you go. Go here. Here's my laptop. There you
Yeah,
go.
here, go for it. Yeah. Yeah, show me
Exactly.
what you can do. Yeah, I mean, it's the opportunities are there, and I know there's a lot of angst about AI, but
Yeah.
I'm reminded of something attributed to the author Ray Bradbury. Do you know who he is?
I do not. No, I
Okay.
do not.
Ray Bradbury wrote a number of books. Fahrenheit 451 is probably one of his most famous. It has to
Okay.
do with burning of books. Okay. The Martian Chronicles, which was made into a TV series. Anyway, he was a futuristic looking and kind of sci-fi, skirting the edges of horror a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
But he was doing a talk in Pasadena, California, I guess in the 80s, and he was talking, and he mentioned nuclear energy, nuclear power,
Mm,
which was, you know, and there were all these boos out of the auditorium. This is what I was told. Okay. I was not
okay.
able to attend because I didn't even know about it till after it was done. But he stopped and looked at the audience and said, apparently, some of you haven't been listening to what I've been saying.
Mm.
The genie is out of the bottle,
Yeah,
folks,
yeah.
and there's no putting him back in. So the thing is with AI is, yes, there are issues and there are going to be issues.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it with everything?
Sure. But the more you know, what is that expression? Forewarned is forearmed. The more you know,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot, there's a lot that I'm learning in this journey. Like one of the other things that I'd like to mention is the use of micro influencers.
Hmm.
Now, sometimes, so what this is a person who has a TikTok channel or a YouTube channel or Instagram channel or whatever, how many platforms there are out there, and they have an audience and their audience engages with them, but they don't have a million followers,
Right.
right? Maybe they have 7, 10,000 followers,
Hmm.
but their audience does engage with them. So what you do is there's a platform out there that gift um you can gift a product to the influencer. So if you were an influencer, I would send you a complimentary t-shirt and I would just say, "Hey, go to my website, tell me which design you like and which style t-shirt you want. I'll send it over and then you in return make a reel, make a video and say, hey, this is a great t-shirt. I love the quality of the design. Go get yourself one,
Hmm.
at tastythreads.com." So now what I learned so the first influencer created the video and what I didn't like is her method. She fast forwards, she speeds up her dialogue. So it sounds like she's like Minnie Mouse.
Right.
And I'm like, but she did what I asked her to do, right?
Mhm.
But this was her style. But what I did notice though is that it drove traffic to my website. So it didn't convert, at least not yet. I don't see any conversions there just
Mhm.
yet from her, but it drove traffic. And so now when I look at my Google Console for my store, I noticed that my average position is now less, which is that what you want? You want to come up, you want your average position number to be lower, not higher, because that
Mhm.
means if you're, let's say my average position is 80, that means if someone's Googling, let's just say peanut butter and jelly shirt, which I do have one, instead of
Mhm.
being 80th, which
Mhm.
is a big number. And now let's say my average position is 30. So now I come up, sooner
You've
than
moved up.
obviously,
Yes, you've
yeah, I've
moved up in
moved
the
up.
search engines. Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's a good thing. It's not, I wanted a conversion, but I've got something that's uh that helped me out in the end as
Mhm.
well, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And another way to look at it is you got this tremendous boost. It moved you up, which while you may not have
Yes.
gotten a conversion from any of that influencer's audience, you may have picked up other sales because you got boosted up. And
Yes.
what was the return on investment for your time and your effort? Well, it could have
A
been
boost.
significant,
Yeah,
a significant, I mean, if you gave away one t-shirt and sold 10, would you do that every day?
of course.
Of course you would. Yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
it's you
Yeah.
have to.
And now I'm now one thing I noticed, I'm starting to have other influencers sort of apply because they have to apply, and now I realize, okay, why didn't she convert? And I'm not saying that they're all supposed to
Mhm.
convert, right? I'm not
Mhm.
saying that. I mean, don't get me wrong. But then I looked at her account and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, now I realize that most of the stuff that she does, she gets a lot of just how cute,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh, okay. There's like no real dialogue there.
Right. Right.
So now I'm thinking, okay, now when I engage another influencer, I have to also see like the quality of the
Sure.
engagement as well.
Mhm.
So this is something now that I've learned,
Right.
which
Right.
is,
See, so another new
yeah,
thing that you've learned, and
exactly.
isn't it amazing what you've learned in 5 weeks?
Yes, I wish I could do this. Eventually, I do believe eventually, you know, I'll tell you something. My goal when I first met my mentor, he said to me, how can I help you? And I said to him, I need you to help me make $1 million this first year. And he looked at me and he goes, I'm not laughing at you, but I can tell that you're serious. I said, I'm dead serious.
Hmm.
So even if I don't make $1 million, like that's my aim. That's how
Hmm.
serious I
Hmm.
am. Like you said, if I make $200,000, if I make 500,
Hmm.
that's something that I didn't, that's like
Yeah.
$500 I didn't have before,
Hmm.
right? Or two hundred thousand
Right.
dollars that I didn't have before.
I mean, when you even think about it, if you made sitting where you're at with the job that you have, okay,
Hmm.
if you were making $1,000 a month or more a month, and I'm talking about net income,
Yeah,
that would be significant for
it
anybody.
would. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's a new car payment and the insurance.
And the insurance, exactly, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's why I am obsessed every day. As soon as I get off work, I hop on my other job, which is to curate my store. How can I optimize it, right? What
Hmm.
more can I do? Okay, what kind of blogs should I write that will capture someone? Because it's also about psychology too, right? Like
Sure.
how do you, right? So what do I do? But also be sincere. I don't want to lie. I don't want to make
Oh,
things
right,
up.
right. You have to be authentic because
Yeah.
people can see right through it if you're not. And
Exactly.
and why would anybody want to try to appear to be something that they're not? Because you can't sustain that.
No,
Sooner
no.
or later, you get exposed, you know?
It's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you can't. It's the same thing like when I work with the people I work with, it's kind of like I can either help you or I can't. And if I can't help you, I'm going to tell you that because I don't want to waste your time and money and I don't want to waste my time.
Exactly.
You know. So it's the same kind of thing. So yeah. Well, wow, Ingrid, this is really great. I like the fact that you want to give back to young people to help them get a better start. Um, I don't know. So many things are moving so fast
Mm.
that the basics of our education system will never be able to keep up. But you still
No.
have to know how to read, you still have to know how to reason, you still have to understand, where we came from and where we're going and how we got there and
Hmm.
all of the things that school teaches. I wish they would teach a little bit more about how the economy works
Entrepreneurship, yeah.
and just the basic understand. Like my first economics class, well, I shouldn't say my first one. My first one bored me to death. It was the second one, which was the economics of the firm, not the whole world, but of the firm,
Oh,
and
okay.
how what that does. It changed my whole outlook on how business operates. I
Mm.
can't look at things the same way anymore.
Right.
And just that one 8-week course in college was enough to go, wow, that,
That's
the whole
interesting.
concept of supply and demand. Okay, everybody kind of understands that.
Hmm.
But then we got into some other things that were this thing that sounds really bizarre. It's called diminishing marginal utility.
Okay.
Okay. And people are like, what? And I'm sitting in the
Hmm.
classroom going, huh? And so my instructor, who was really great, he draws this thing out and he draws out a grid like he's going to do a plot points.
Uh-huh. Right,
And he
right.
goes, all right. He goes, you go to the movie theater and you buy a bag of popcorn
Hmm.
and your degree of satisfaction is like a 5. In fact, it's so good when you're done with it, you go out and buy another one and you eat that one. But it's still really good, but it's not quite anyway. And the more you buy, that thing
Yeah.
gets lower and lower. And think about it. Is your third cup of coffee in the morning as good as that first one?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So
not.
the more of something you consume, the
Hmm.
less satisfaction you get with each subsequent, unless there's a break in between.
And that's
You
why
know,
you always have to reinvent yourself,
right,
or not yourself, but your product.
right, right, exactly. So just understanding that
Yeah.
and understanding the concept of supply and demand and how things work and all that you gives you just a different outlook on what life, on how the economy works. And I think you can
Hmm.
make better decisions.
Yeah. And I think we see that on display all the time when you turn on the TV and you
Yeah.
look at a commercial. It's the new cheeseburger, the new
Hmm.
sauce, the
Right.
new, bacon, whatever,
Right.
right?
And in a lot of
And
cases, it's the same ingredients packaged a little differently and sold in another way, and it's the same thing, but everybody rushes out to buy it because it's new.
right, right.
Yeah, but it's the same burger that has been around for that's one of the funny things here in California. And now opening, I think, 3 or 4 stores in Tennessee because the owner has moved. She and her family have moved to Tennessee. We have this burger chain out west called In and Out. They are
Okay, I've
well
heard of them.
known. Okay. All they make is burgers. That's it. They don't have burritos. They don't have this. They don't have that. You want cheese on that burger or not? You want onions grilled or not? I mean, it's real
Hmm.
simple.
Hmm.
And yet they don't repackage, they don't redo it, they just do something basic and they do it well. And even
It's a
that
classic.
works. And when you
Yeah.
go by one of their stores, there's 20 cars in line at the drive-through every day from the moment they open.
You know what I've learned in this my journey, my small journey so far is that there's a market for everyone and for
Sure.
everything. I mean, to me, what really stands out is, and I forget his name, but the guy who started the Pet Rock,
Right.
like the guy made $1 million. Like he was like, and I'm thinking anything else is better than that, right? Like a
Sure.
product, like a mug, a t-shirt, you know, it's like,
And the funny thing is, I was a teenager during the whole pet rock thing. And I mean, I'm looking at this going, seriously? I mean, some of them were cute.
yeah,
One of them, I think
yeah.
my mother-in-law had like 4 or 5 little rocks together, glued together and painted, and it was just entitled Rock Concert. which, you know, was like the most um interesting and I thought cutest one that I'd ever seen. But you know, that phase went in and out in a hurry.
But he took advantage of it,
Sure.
like he made his money. And but my point is not, it's that, he probably pitched that idea to friends and family, and they laughed at him.
Hmm.
So my point is, like, if you have an idea and you've pitched it to your family and friends and they've laughed at you, like, don't listen to them.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
that's my point. Like, don't listen to them, because there's someone out there for you.
right.
Like, you have an audience. Now is your job, to execute and find it. I mean, I'm looking at the globe behind you. There's like how many people on this planet?
Sure.
You have an audience. And
Hmm.
then that's the hard part. Like, now you gotta, find your tribe, right?
Hmm.
And that's
Exactly.
where I'm at, right? Right.
Right.
That's where I'm at.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, you know, the I can't remember his last name, the gentleman who started FedEx.
Oh,
Okay. Do you
yes.
know that when he wrote up his business plan for his MBA at Harvard, his professor gave him a C plus on it and told him it would never work?
Don't
Yeah, you can't,
we
don't let,
have
yeah.
we have a gut instinct.
Hmm.
We have, and go for it.
Hmm.
Just because it may be that your first endeavor may lead to your success, right? Like,
Right.
for me, I started with food photography,
Hmm.
but that's not where I ended up. I ended up in
Sure.
food fashion
Right.
apparel.
Right.
So
And and a year from now, who knows where you'll be?
that's what, yeah,
Right.
exactly. So,
Because all of these are learning steps.
it is. And if there's someone out there, one of your listeners, who is thinking, like, stop thinking and just take the first
Mhm.
step. There's a whole host of us taking a whole bunch of first steps,
Right. There are.
So yeah.
There are. Yeah. Well, Ingrid, thank you so much for your time today. It was a pleasure to meet you and to talk about your business.
Well, thank you.
I think this whole interview is going to be very inspiring for a lot of people
Well, I
looking into
appreciate
this.
that.
So,
Yep. Thank you.
all righty. Good luck, and we'll keep in touch.
Yes, sir. Thank you for everything.
You're very welcome. Bye bye.
Okay.